Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the month. Time to do a Feminist Frequency video. So, Miss Frequency, what work of fiction have you mistaken for reality and then found offense with now?
Vampires, vampires, vampires. They're everywhere. And they want equal rights too, damn it. Yes, I'm talking about True Blood.
Well, I don't know if this is gonna sound gay, but I really like True Blood. Not season 4, that one really sucked because of all the romance and shit that was going on. But the rest of them are pretty good. I really like this season because they're religious vampires, and there's like moderates and fundamentalists, and the fundamentalists are causing problems. It's really a lot like what's been going on in the atheist community, the discussion of moderates and fundamentalists. But let's not get sidetracked on that. Let's see what kind of problem Miss Frequency has with True Blood.
The problem I have with True Blood is I feel like it's structurally flawed. The writers are equating vampire rights with the struggle of civil rights and queer rights. Let's be clear. Vampires are evil, manipulative, blood-sucking, monstrous, undead beings.
You know what, bitch? You make me sick to my fucking stomach with your bigotry, right? Vampires were people too, and you know, not all of them asked to be vampires. A great number of them were made into vampires against their will, and then you want to punish them further for that? Well, fuck you.
Now, to equate these evil beings with black folks and queer folks is not a far cry from the actual accusations against black folks and queer folks, both historically and currently.
Oh my god, you know, you and Rebecca Watson should get together so you can eat some dry toast and drink some tepid water, because you both just don't even understand the concept of anything that could be construed as fucking interesting. It's not equating shit with shit. It's actually a very clever plot contrivance. I mean, this show was based on a book, or a series of books, and it's really funny to think about vampires coming out of the coffin and wanting equal rights. I mean, it's funny, and it's something that might really happen if there were vampires, so, yeah. It's a great basis for a show. I mean, it's better than what most sitcoms have, but no, in your perfect world, every show is like what? Just, I respect you too. Here's some respect. Hey, you're a man, you don't need respect. You're right, ma'am. I mean, what? I don't even know what shows would be like in your world, but I can be pretty goddamn sure I don't want to watch them.
To make this show that's this sort of, you know, serious drama but fun commentary is offensive at best. Good old Sookie Stackhouse, who this story is actually based on. She's so boring.
Oh, that's rich.
Really? Okay, I take that back. There are some things that are interesting about her, like the psychic ability is kind of interesting, but ultimately she is the white, female, blonde, cute, virginal protagonist.
Wait just a second, aren't you the same person who's always gassing on about this Bechdel test, which says something like, there ain't enough women in movies, the women folk ain't never represented on the screen, or some shit like that. So then we get a television show that's completely and totally based around a woman, and now all of a sudden you're bitching because, oh, she's a white woman and virginal. And by the way, she's only a virgin because she can read minds. She's actually a total whore. But so you are never happy. You're never even the slightest bit happy. Don't pretend that you ever were or ever will be. That's crazy.
I do appreciate that she stands up to Bill occasionally. Even though she always goes back to him, and even though he's still this I have to save you creepy guy, just having those little lines, you know, makes me happier in general. And I think it's also good representation for women to see that resistance. It just falls short constantly because she still goes back to his ridiculous patriarchal behavior.
Well, I'll get more into this later, but for a plot to move forward, or for a plot to even exist, there needs to be some sort of conflict. So here's Sookie. She wants to get laid, but she can't because she can read men's minds. And then we have Bill, whose mind she can't read. They hook up. But then, oh, look what's getting in the way. He has all of these old-fashioned, quaint notions. But she still has to go to him because there's few guys that she can have sex with without hearing their internal dialogue of how they're fucking her. So, you know, we have some conflict that's really good for plot momentum. Not that you would understand the concept of anything interesting happening, but please go on.
Season 2, there's a really great example of the backlash against women if they want to defend themselves against their patriarchal boyfriends.
That does not give you license to behave like an irresponsible child. She is a loaded gun, Sookie. not a doll for you to dress up and play with. What are you doing?
Walking!
Don't be ridiculous. Bon Top is nearly 20 miles away.
I'd rather walk all night than spend another second in that car with you.
So now look what happens. Sookie's getting punished by a near-death experience because she decided to stick up for herself.
Actually, that was a necessary plot point. See, later on, Sam has a girlfriend with the 3 scratch marks down her back, and so we need to see that to tie all this shit together. But for that to happen, Sookie needs some sort of excuse to go walking out of the car. But you know what? Let's try it your way. Sookie, I fully respect your ability to make decisions, even as it pertains to my vampire offspring. I only ask that you be a bit more careful in the future when you are dealing with her. I need to go on my daily constitutional, Bill. It's good for my heart. Sookie, it's more than 20 miles to Bon Ton. Atherosclerotic heart disease is the leading cause of death in this country. Catch you on the flip side.
Bill is positioned as this sort of romantic, old school, I'm gonna take care of you and respect you, but it's just so contrived and really messed up. I mean, do we really want to celebrate these old sort of Victorian ways of...
Oh, the horror. Care and respect. Oh, more God. It's blatant misogyny. No, but seriously, isn't respect one of those things you're always blabbity blab 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 about? Seems like it. As for the taking care of, I mean, well, if he's enough of a chump and a sucker to want to do that shit, well...
engaging in relationships. I mean, almost every other word out of his mouth is something about having to protect Sookie.
The more people know what you do, the harder it is for me to protect you. Sookie must be protected, and I need you to watch over Sookie. Protect her while I'm gone. My only desire is to keep you safe.
Okay, I actually agree with Feministfrequency on that one. It's pretty tedious listening to that shit, but I mean, that's why you just fire up a big fat doobie before you watch True Blood. Problem solved.
And now, Sookie will demonstrate the appropriate response to these comments.
Shut the fuck up.
Tara is Sookie's best friend, and I really like Tara. I think that she is really kind of dynamic and interesting. I really believe her character. I believe that she has had a really messed up childhood, and her mom's an alcoholic, and she's lashed out and been promiscuous and hasn't had the emotional support and doesn't really know how to, you know, love herself because nobody's ever really loved her.
Aw, this gives me kind of a look into Miss Frequency's psyche. Makes me feel kind of like a bad guy for picking on her. Oh well, what can you do? Onward we go.
So that when this evil god-like creature masked as a beautiful woman who eats a lot of organic food comes in and gives her that emotional love and support, she's gonna fall for that. I buy that. What I don't buy is that, unfortunately, even though I think Tara is really interesting, she's still the black sidekick. She's still the loud, pompous, aggressive, hypersexualized black woman.
Well, yeah, but if she was a loud, pompous, aggressive, hypersexualized white woman, you would then be bitching. Because...
Lafayette. Oh, you know, we all love him. He's really dynamic and really interesting and funny, and he has definitely some choice lines, but... he is every stereotype about black queer men, all rolled into one little pretty package, and it constantly infuriates me.
Well, I don't want to get into a philosophy discussion, because we all know how I feel about philosophy, but if you love Lafayette, but you don't love the things that make Lafayette Lafayette, how can you really be said to actually love him? Or more to the point, if we were to change him to whatever bland-ass notion you would like gay black men to be represented as, would he still have the same sort of joie de vivre, je ne sais quoi, and various other French words I don't even fucking know?
Eric's character has developed a lot more in Season 2, and I'm kind of disturbed by the direction it's going. So, in Season 1, we established that he's this pompous, arrogant, sort of quiet, but very powerful asshole. He doesn't really care about humans very much, they're just kind of toys to him, and he can get whatever he wants because he's the most powerful vampire in the area. So, in Season 2, we start to see a bit of his emotion as far as being concerned about his maker, and he even cries, which I think it's totally acceptable and great that men are crying on television, but I don't think that this gives us license to feel sympathy or attraction towards Eric.
Reality check, bitch. I don't need a license to feel anything at any time ever. And even if such emotion licensing system existed, you would not be the one running the shit. So shut the fuck up. Thank you.
I think that he is still continuing to be a perpetrator, really. The scene in which he tricks Sookie into drinking his blood is really reminiscent of sexual assault.
Well, to be fair, with you rabid, insano, ultra-feminists, everything is reminiscent of sexual assault, you know? From feminists, you hear nothing but rape, rape, rape all the livelong day. It's like you guys think about rape more than serial rapists. I mean, you got an unhealthy fucking fixation going on there. Jesus Christ.
And unfortunately, that sexual assault hasn't been dealt with in a respectful way. So he thinks that it's totally okay and funny that he did that. Sookie's pissed, but what is she gonna do? And he gets to emotionally stalk her. I think it's characters like Eric and the scene that I described that really reminds me that there are people behind the scenes who are purposely writing things and get to choose which direction these stories and characters go. And more often than not, they are not in the direction in which fans want to see them.
Oh yeah, the writers could write something that everybody likes, but no, they don't do that because they're on a mission to, I don't know, marginalize women or whatever paranoid fucking thoughts you have going in your head. But here, let me ask you a question, Miss Frequency. Do you think you could write something better? Do you think you could write something that so many people could love? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think you fucking could. And I would bet any amount of money to anybody that you couldn't.
Especially female fans, because we live with a constant fear of violence towards us on a daily basis.
Why don't you just buy some mace and a stun gun and quit bitching about it? You know, when the last time I felt afraid of something? I don't remember, because I'm a grown-up.
We don't need that to be dealt with on TV in a very negative, dismissive sort of way. I could probably go on for hours about the specifics of how messed up True Blood is.
Oh my god, you mean it hasn't been hours? It sure as hell feels like it. Anyway, this has been another episode of Feminist Frequency. Have a nice day.